Welcome to the 2021 Planetary Health Annual Meeting and Festival. I am Antonio Saraiva, Chairman of the conference, and it's my pleasure to welcome you, though virtually, to São Paulo, Brazil, and to the University of São Paulo, dear 4,400 colleagues and friends from 1,020 countries that have registered so far. Isn't it amazing? We are so happy to have you all here with us. I want to start saying that I acknowledge, respect, and recognize the Tupiniquim people as the traditional inhabitants of the city of São Paulo land and of the University of São Paulo land. Our traditional peoples have taught us and still have a lot to teach us throughout the years. I want to express my deep sorrow for all those who have suffered and are still suffering because of COVID-19 in every corner of our planet. That is a terribly sad example of a planetary health problem which we want to avoid in the future. Organizing this conference was challenging, as you may imagine. So bear with me as I want to say how grateful I am to many people and organizations who helped us to be here. And I'll start with the Planetary Health Alliance, his director, Samayas, and its wonderful staff, Marie Studer, Joanna Wagner, Max Zimberg, Ariel Blacklow, Jeremy Pivor, Carlos Ferrom, and Matthew Smith. Thank you for the opportunity and partnership. It has been an amazing experience for us to work with you all. I want to acknowledge the support and commitment from my institution, Provost Silvio Canuto, and all his staff who have been partners in this journey since the beginning. Professors Paulo Saldiva and Ari Plonsky, former and current directors of the Institute for Advanced Studies and the staff of the Institute, where our Brazilian Planetary Health group is hosted. The School of Engineering, my home school, and of course, our rector, our president, Vahan Agopian, for his leadership all these years. Thank you also my colleagues from the Planetary Health Group in Brazil. We have shared the passion and desire to contribute to the change we want to see happen. And they have collaborated and supported me, basically with each other, in many ways. I thank Henrique Barros and Fernando Xavier on behalf of all faculty and students of the group. A special thank you to my close collaborators, part of the executive committee of this meeting. Daniela Viana, Rebecca Camaroto, Ana Magalhães, Nicole de Paula, Sheina Koffler, Andrea Costa, Raquel Santiago, Felipe Soares, Bruno Albertini, Marcelino, Eneos Trindade, Thais Martins, Chris Borba, Jailson Nunes. You did a great job. Your support and commitment was essential. Thanks to the program committee for their support and guidance in the process of defining our program structure and narrative. A big thank you to all side events and festival events organizers, and to all poster authors who have brought an incredible wealth of content, energy, and community to our Planetary Health Week. Thank you also to our sponsors who have helped us in many ways. The list is long, and I will summarize saying that it's good to have such a variety of groups, companies, institutions from different countries supporting the field of planetary health, even in difficult times like our times. Marie Studer will mention your name shortly. I will end saying that when we were asked by Sam whether we would like to submit a proposal to host the event, bringing it to the Global South for the first time, I had mixed thoughts and emotions. But I had to do it. Why? To honor everything in which I believe, to work for a cause that I believe in, a cause that speaks of hope, of equity, respect, and other human values, of the relations amongst human beings and between them and nature, to help build a better world, maybe not for me, but for our children, for my son, a much loved son, and his children whenever he has them, for your children, you here in the audience, for all living beings and for our planet. I think that that is the main reason that brings us all here now. So thank you for the opportunity to serve you. Thank you for being such a great community, and we hope you enjoy the meeting. Thank you. I would like now to introduce and welcome to the stage, the virtual stage, Dr. Samayas. Sam, please.
Thank you, Antonio. I'm Sam Myers. I'm the director of the Planetary Health Alliance, and I also want to start with just a few thank yous. A meeting like this doesn't come together without attending to tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of logistical details. And this year's complexity was multiplied by having to create the entire meeting in a virtual space. From sending up drones to film USP's campus to creating individualized Zoom links for every participant of every session, there's been a staggering amount for us to pay attention to. And the USP team has been nothing short of heroic in managing all of those details. We owe enormous gratitude to Antonio for leading this entire process starting a year and a half ago, to the entire communications team led by Danny, to the staff of the Provost's office and the USP Foundation, especially Ana Paula and Rebecca, to the posters and events teams with special thanks to Shayna and Raquel, and to the Brazilian Planetary Health Group, including outstanding leadership by Nicole de Paula. There are hundreds of others who deserve our thanks, but time is short, so please know that your efforts are hugely appreciated. This meeting was supposed to take place in person. We were supposed to be all together, basking in the legendary warmth and hospitality of our Brazilian friends and colleagues, and going out in the evenings to participate in their legendary celebrations. Instead, sometime shortly after our meeting at Stanford, life's tiniest manifestation, a virus, moved from a bat to an intermediate host and into a human being, mutating along the way. And the world has been brought to its knees. It's the latest and the most global of many alarm bells that have been ringing around the world over the last several years, warning us of our profoundly risky relationship to nature. We can't begin a meeting based in Brazil without acknowledging the lost lives and livelihoods that are causing trauma and tragedy across the globe. Nowhere has that pain been more severe than in Brazil. And the USP team's grace and graciousness in hosting us amidst this tragedy is an act of courage and commitment to building something strong and beautiful out of this painful moment. I want to take a brief pause to hold those who have suffered and are suffering in our hearts. We find ourselves at an extraordinary moment in human history. We're going to start this meeting by showing you a 10-minute video outlining the arc of the Planetary Health narrative, in hopes that it will help us come to this week's discussions on common ground. I look forward to being with all of you in spirit, if not in reality, over this coming week. Thank you, and let's watch the video.
I want to tell you a story. Once there was a breathtakingly beautiful planet with swirling patterns of blue and green and white moving through vast, dark space, a perfect distance from its warming sun to develop an explosion of millions of forms of wild, improbable, interconnected, and unimaginably beautiful life. Late in the pulse of declining and emerging species, a newcomer arrived, neither particularly fast nor fierce, but with an unusually large and complex brain, and began to separate itself from the others. Like all life forms, early humans began to mobilize resources to support their needs. Our ingenuity in doing this exceeded any species the planet had ever known. Mastering tools, harnessing fire, developing agriculture, and domesticating animals, we began to appropriate the rest of nature to meet our needs. Somewhere along the way, we began to tell ourselves a story of human exceptionalism, that we are separate from nature and that the rest of the natural world is ours for the taking. Individuals and entire cultures with stories and ways of life that emphasized living in harmony with nature and protecting the web of life tended to be marginalized or destroyed. Late in the story, we discovered the nearly boundless energy stored in the fossil remains of previous life forms. Burning these fuels exponentially increased our ability to transform landscapes, develop new products and technologies, mine minerals from deep in the ground and sea, fell forests, expand agriculture and food production, transport people and products, and extend fishing to the remotest reaches of the ocean. In the space of less than a century, we became the dominant force shaping Earth's biophysical conditions. Our inventions and discoveries allowed most of humanity to experience breathtaking improvements in education, wealth, and health. Global adult literacy doubled from 1940 to 2015. The percentage of people living in extreme poverty fell from 62% to 10%, despite a nearly threefold increase in the global human population during that time. Average global life expectancy rose from 46 years to 72 years. But the same extraordinary technological and scientific developments that fueled these unimaginable improvements in human development over the course of a single lifetime also accelerated the erosion of our planet's natural systems. In removing ourselves from nature, we've allowed our collective activities to become extreme. To feed ourselves each year, we claim 40% of the world's land surface for croplands and pastures. We appropriate half the accessible fresh water, mostly to irrigate our crops. We've dammed over 60% of the world's rivers and cut down half the temperate and tropical forests. The pollution from our enterprises contaminates air, water, and soil at a global scale and is driving accelerating climate change. Of the total mass of mammals on Earth today, 36% is human beings, 60% is domesticated livestock, 4% is wild mammals. 2/3 of the birds, reptiles, amphibians, fishes, and mammals that used to share the planet with us are gone. 1 million species face extinction, many within decades. In pursuit of our ambitions, all of nature has become collateral damage. But human beings are not disconnected from the rest of the natural world. Planetary health is a rapidly growing transdisciplinary field focused on understanding and addressing the human health impacts of our degradation of natural systems. Planetary health research is teaching us that our dismantling of nature has become an urgent threat to human health and well-being. A rapidly changing climate, loss of biodiversity, pollution of air, water, and soil, deforestation and other land use changes, and scarcity of fresh water and arable land are interacting to affect the foundations of human well-being. The quality and quantity of food we can produce, the quality of air we breathe and water we drink, our exposure to infectious diseases and extreme weather events, even the habitability of the places many of us live. Every dimension of human health is being affected, from nutrition to infectious disease exposure, from non-communicable diseases to mental health. The enormous health gains we've achieved over the last several decades are now threatened by our own transformation of nature's systems. Nor are the health burdens distributed evenly or fairly. When warming causes malaria to move up into the East African highlands, the poorest families who cannot purchase bed nets are most vulnerable. When pollinating insects decline and crop yields fall, the wealthy can afford to purchase fresh fruit and vegetables while the poor suffer higher rates of heart disease, stroke, and certain cancers because of decreased consumption of these foods. When extreme weather and crop failures drive people from their homes, the wealthy are insulated while the poor suffer. Consumption patterns and value systems of the wealthiest people on Earth are putting the poorest people and future generations in harm's way. Awareness around planetary health is moving quickly across the world. From policymakers to the private sector to the general public, we're waking up to what Martin Luther King once described as the fierce urgency of now. To safeguard human health and well-being and to protect the rest of life on Earth will require deep, urgent, structural change in how we live and a global commitment to reversing our degradation of Earth's natural systems. Our growing awakening to this fact holds enormous promise. Looking out across the domains of global food systems, energy systems, manufacturing and the circular economy, urban design and green chemistry, we see a rich landscape of solutions. We can imagine a world 100 years from now where the human population has stabilized as a result of educating girls, creating economic opportunities for women, and providing access to contraception for couples who want it. A world in which we have extended today's remarkable gains in renewable energy technology and moved to a post-combustion energy system. A world where we are producing food and manufactured goods with dramatically reduced ecological inputs. And a world where most of us are living in cities that have been designed to optimize physical, mental, and cultural health while allowing nature to regenerate. The moment we face calls for more than rapid innovation in our technologies and practices. Underneath the ecological crisis we have created and the global health crisis that it is precipitating is a spiritual crisis. We've allowed our myth of human exceptionalism to create a rupture between humanity and the natural world we depend on. The reverence and awe that most of us feel toward nature has lost its authority in guiding our decisions. We will need to weave a new fabric with threads from indigenous knowledge, the world's faith traditions, literature, and the arts that reasserts our spiritual connection to the natural world. Our story of human exceptionalism, of extraction, domination, scarcity, and ultimately extinction will need to give way to new stories and values of interdependence, equity, abundance, regeneration, and renaissance. We find ourselves actors in one of history's greatest dramas. A lone species with an outsized talent for bending the natural world toward our will, spinning through space on a stunning but fragile planet. The same complex brain that has subjugated much of nature is bringing us news that the state of natural systems and the well-being of humanity cannot remain disconnected. We know that people around the world are suffering across every region and every dimension of health. We have the science, stories, and solutions in front of us. We know what to do. Will we do it?
Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Marie Studer, the Senior Program Manager for the Planetary Health Alliance, also called the PHA, in case you hear that terminology throughout this week. This beautiful video will be available for you to watch at your leisure at any time, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in just a moment. But right now, I just want to reflect on that video and hope that you enjoy it as much as I really appreciate it. And I also want to thank our partners, the World Wildlife Fund and the Harvard Center for the Environment, for their support and help in creating this video. To me, this video just beautifully encapsulates the concept of planetary health, both describing the challenges, but also the solutions. And maybe most importantly, for me, the hope for the future, which is one of the core values of not only the field of planetary health, but also the Planetary Health Alliance. We know that by working together with all of you, we have reason for hope. We can collectively choose a world where all people thrive by protecting and regenerating Earth's natural systems for generations to come. And we feel this is a really important message to get out right now during this very difficult time, and also especially during this 2021 super year of important international meetings and summits and conferences, including the COP26 Climate Change Conference and the COP15 Biodiversity Conference, among many others. So we want to reach as many people as possible with this planetary health message and to give them an understanding of planetary health, our connection, human connection with nature, but also that there is reason for hope. And so I have a request for you. For those of you who can help, please see in the chat message for the link to the video and also a social media post that you can share with your networks right now. Or if you want, just follow us at @PH_Alliance and retweet our posts. The video itself can be found on our Planetary Health Alliance YouTube channel, and you can watch it anytime or pick it up there and send it out. And from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate your help in helping to spread this message. And there really is some good news in the world. We're seeing tremendous interest in the field and in the movement of planetary health. And obviously with your help, all of your help, we can see that trend continue to grow. And over the last year, the Planetary Health Alliance has seen extraordinary growth in our strategic areas of research and knowledge curation, education, and community building. A few highlights that I'd like to share with you just to show how much our field is growing and the community is growing is that in terms of research, we now have close to 1,400 curated research articles in our bibliography on our website, which provide the evidence base that describes the relationship between environmental degradation and human health impacts. And also at this conference, make sure to participate in the Science Lightning Talks toward the end of each day, where some of the latest research will be presented exploring the intersection of planetary health and mental health, food and nutrition, non-communicable diseases, infectious disease, and displacement and conflict. And I'd like to thank the Lancet Planetary Health Journal for producing a special abstract publication for us for this conference. And you'll be able to find that on the platform and also at the booth exhibit. In education, our growth has been tremendous. Last summer, we released the first ever textbook for the field, which is called Planetary Health, Protecting Nature to Protect Ourselves. And in addition, we also released 10 case studies. Both the book, the case studies, and other of the resources are providing foundational educational resources to facilitate the education and training of current and next generation planetary health practitioners. The textbook itself is being translated into several languages, illustrating the global demand for this information. And I want to really promote and say that the case studies are free to download on our website, which is planetaryhealth.org. And we want to make sure that they remain free and they'll always be free because we want to reduce the barriers to this information and these available resources so that everyone can join in this conversation. And more planetary health courses are being offered through our global partners, attracting large numbers of students. And at this conference, we'll be releasing a co-created planetary health education framework. So make sure to be on the lookout for those. Lastly, we've seen tremendous growth in our community, as witnessed not only by this annual meeting attendance and the registrations of over 4,200 people, but also thanks to the hard work of my team at the Planetary Health Alliance to create meaningful engagement opportunities that have been informed by our membership to make them relevant for all of those in our community. And I'm really excited to say that as of today, our membership at the Planetary Health Alliance is 255 member organizations from 56 countries and growing. We also see interest and actions by private sector policymakers and the general public toward planetary health. You'll be hearing about many of these advancements over the next few days of the meeting. So come to as many sessions as possible, and the main sessions will be simultaneously interpreted into French, Portuguese, Spanish, and Mandarin to reach a broad audience. They'll also be recorded and available for future use on our YouTube channel. But now I have some really important and exciting messages. And I also see that I really apologize, but I'm out of time. So I want to do one last thing, which is to acknowledge our sponsors. I'm going to share my screen at the moment, and we'll tell you about our announcements, both in the chat and in other messages. I hope you can see my screen. Sam, can you give me a thumbs up? Okay, I want to thank our sponsors for their generous support. We could not put this session on without you, and you can find these on our website. They are the Wellcome Trust, the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation, the Research Provost Office of USP, the Institute for Advanced Studies at USP, NIC, BR, Women Leaders for Planetary Health, the Sense of Silence Foundation, FABEB, Beyond Meat, Escola Politecnica, USP, Recyclia, UBR Project, Cinesolar, Gore Street Capital, Saúde Planetaria, Alliance Santé Planetaire, and now I'm going to read these in English. And my French is not so good. The EHESP, the French School of Public Health, the Analyse Dépôt of Centre Vauchot-Villemelle, CVV of the University of Paris, the Health Environment Association of France, ASEF, and the Société Francophone de Santé et Environment, the SFSE, French Society of Health and Environment. I apologize for going a bit long, but again, it's my deepest gratitude to our sponsors and to our colleagues at the University of São Paulo. Now I would like to hand it back to Antonio.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you all. Now I want to spend some time explaining to you the program that we have put together for you. You may have seen that our program is not organized around specific scientific topics such as climate change or COVID, which would be obvious choices. Instead of that, we decided to build it around a set of fundamental pillars or themes that are cross-cutting and which we think are essential to promote a great transition, a change in the way we produce and consume the goods we need, the way we live, how we interact with each other and with the planet. And because that requires everyone, every country, all cultures and faith traditions, all generations and all professions, we have adopted the motto of the conference as Planetary Health for All, bridging communities to achieve a great transition. We want to help reach all communities, and we are so happy because we're starting really well with such a large and diverse audience from every part of the planet. And I want to share my screen for you to see something very interesting. Let's see if I can do it. Please tell me if you see my screen. Can you see the map of the countries represented in our meeting? So you see that we reached almost every part of the globe, and we're still increasing. So registration is still open. And if we see this, we'll see that we have very tiny spots in every part, in even small islands from Vanuatu, Fiji, also Bhutan, to large countries like US, Brazil, Australia, and China. So we're really in every place. That's how we are right now. Let me go back and stop sharing. If I manage to find my mouse here. I'm sorry. This can be tricky when you have many windows open. There you are. Hope you can see me again. So back to the themes. Each day of our program has one. On day one, today, we'll be speaking of fundamental values for planetary health. We understand that this is the most fundamental pillar. They model our relation to each other and to the planet. They guide our life. Are there shared values to guide us all towards a great transition to a more sustainable, equitable, fair, and happy world? On day two, we will speak of knowledge for planetary health. We all agree that this is another fundamental pillar to inform decisions at all levels, and we currently see how failure to follow scientific advice can cause disasters, just like it's happening with the pandemic in many countries, including Brazil. But because planetary health is so transdisciplinary, we will focus on broad aspects of the ways we are organized and maybe need to change the way we create knowledge, we do research, and we educate and form new professionals to tackle the complex transdisciplinary problems of our society, such as climate change, this and maybe future pandemics, sustainability, and so on. So the questions are academic structures and careers adequate for that? Are funding agencies and mechanisms adequate for that? On day three, the theme is reconstructing economies for present and future generations. We will discuss and bring examples of how our economies can be based on more sustainable paradigms and yet profit. What is the role of private sector to promote change? Are we measuring development, progress adequately? On day four, governance and cooperation. We will discuss the need for stronger and more equitable governance and cooperation schemes and organizations, from global to subnational, an aspect that has been so much stressed by COVID. On day five, we will talk about social movements and social change. What are good examples of society taking the lead to promote change, not waiting, but rather pressing governments, private sector, and academia towards new directions? And we will end day five with a short session on what we call São Paulo Declaration on Planetary Health. This declaration will be the first document of its kind from the planetary health community, outlining what actions are necessary to achieve the great transition. Your contributions will serve as a call to action from the global community and for specific categories and stakeholders. But please be aware that you all can already join the online consultation on Spark Blue hosted by the United Nations Development Programme, visiting the São Paulo Declaration booth in the exhibit hall in the event platform. We want to hear your voice, please. As we had to shift to an online model, we understood that we would need to spread the program into many days instead of the 2.5 days format from previous meetings. And then we saw the opportunity to have a full week of events organized by you under the umbrella of a Planetary Health Week, comprising the main program, side events, and festival events. So we have more than 50 side events, independently organized and distributed along the week and hosted around the globe. They bring an incredible wealth of topics, energy, communities, most of them live, some pre-recorded. Some will have their live sessions recorded for further viewing. Don't miss them. We also have around 20 festival events, powerful messages from our indigenous peoples, poetry, children and youth dancing to celebrate the earth, classic music playing from Vienna, collective online cooking of traditional recipes around the globe, and more. All of them help us reflect on our current situation, but also celebrating actions and life. We'll also have 3 science lightning talk sessions on specific topics in which selected poster authors will be live for a joint moderated question and answer session. Poster sessions. Being online also allowed us to have a different format for poster sessions. We had to. Authors will have their own text and video chat and will be waiting for your online visit at the defined times. But you can also schedule individual talks with each of them. By the way, you can schedule individual meetings with anyone registered. Just go to the lounge room, access the attendees directory, and get in contact. You can find people from your community, your country, in many ways. Finally, don't miss the booth area to see important opportunities for publications, for partnerships, for engaging with PHA and the São Paulo Declaration. Oof, that's it. As you see, there's a lot to be seen. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for being here with us. Now let us proceed with the opening ceremony. I'd like to introduce Professor Guillermo Plonsky, Director of the Institute for Advanced Studies of the University of São Paulo. Adi, please.
Good morning to all participants of the Planetary Health Annual Meeting and Festival 2021. A special salute to the Planetary Health Alliance's leadership, especially Dr. Samayas, Founding Director, and Dr. Marie Studer, Senior Program Manager. To University of São Paulo's leadership, Professor Vahan Agopian, our President, and Professor Silvio Canuto, Provost for Research. And to my colleague and dear friend, Professor Antônio Saraiva, Chairperson of PHAM 2021, and through him to the awesome team involved in organizing this pivotal planetary meeting. Allow me to highlight 2 of the reasons that render this meeting not only crucial, but also timely. Firstly, the need to counterbalance the increasingly worrisome self-centered mood. This is a zeitgeist legitimized by the attitude and behavior of so many governments during the current global COVID-19 crisis. And secondly, the need to advocate complex system science as a potent approach to address the foremost contemporary question, how to deal with the confluence of Earth's biodiversity and natural systems degradation and its impact on human health and all life on our shared planet. The flowing together of these 2 streams of issues is the raison d'être of the Planetary Health Alliance. This confluence also resonates in University of São Paulo's Institute for Advanced Studies, as inter and transdisciplinarity have been in the DNA of the Institute since its inception in 1986. While the involvement of University of São Paulo in the Planetary Health Initiative was being underway, the Institute already had active research groups and synthesis centers dealing with multiple aspects of both streams, such as Amazon and transformation, environment and society, ecosystem services, urban space and health, nutrition and poverty, global cities, and the UNESCO chair on ocean sustainability. So, when the university decided to create a planetary health research group, we were prepared to welcome and house the new kid on the block, headed by Professor Antônio Saraiva. Thank you, Professor Canuto, for endorsing this excellent match. The kit developed rapidly. Established in mid-2019, the Planetary Health Group, hosted at the Institute for Advanced Studies, evolved and became an example of transdisciplinarity and national reach. In fact, in less than 2 years, it became a Brazilian planetary health group hosted at University of São Paulo, with circa 80 members from all regions of the country. Group members' diverse areas of knowledge and their different institutional backgrounds are vital for such a bold, transformative endeavor. I would like to conclude by highlighting a jewel of the group, the Student Ambassadors Program. It attracted 200 undergraduate students from 23 of the 27 Brazilian states. These ambassadors were instrumental in helping organize this beautiful meeting, which I'm sure will be remarkable, fruitful, and of what we heard from Professor Antônio Saraiva, with the festival, also fun. Long live the Planetary Health Alliance. Saraiva, back to you.
Thank you, Ari. Now I invite Professor Silvio Canuto for his words.
So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as appropriate for each one of you. This is a happy moment for all of us. But please allow me to say especially happy for the University of São Paulo. It's basically 1.5 years since we were in Stanford, Professor Antônio Saraiva and me, to present in person our candidacy to host the next meeting of the Planetary Health Alliance. Since then, so many things happened, and the way the world interacts has changed, and the challenge is simply increased by much. We missed the opportunity to meet you all in person, and that implies some decrease in human warmth. On the other hand, the opportunity and the quality of virtual meetings have increased, and it is with certain pride that we see that we are reaching more than 4,000 participants, 4,400 to say precisely, representing the impressive number of more than 120 countries. We are reaching most corners of the planet. The possibility to discuss the health of our planet in the broad and transdisciplinary way achieves a special meaning with this latitude of participation. As many other countries, we face difficulties of various types to defend the environment, clean water, sustainable use of energy, decrease of carbon emission, and the general quality of our planet. We must sensitize, educate even our political leaders that we only have this one home, our beautiful blue home. We must take good care of it, and we must understand its functioning and improve on methods to protect. For this, we need science knowledge and mutual collaboration, both aimed in this meeting. I would like to express our acknowledgement to Professor Samayas and all of his staff for great support all along. Thanks to Mary Student. I have also to thank and congratulate Professor Antonio Saraiva for his dedicated and excellent work done in organizing this Planetary Health meeting. Thanks to the organizing committee, you made it happen, and you made it in an excellent way. This is an effort that goes well beyond our research office and the Institute of Advanced Studies. It involves so many people around this university, partner universities and institutes along these and other countries. I acknowledge all of those involved in the participation, in the organization, and of course, there are so many of you, so I would like to mention the names of Professor Ana Paula Magalhães and Mrs. Rebecca Camaroto. On their behalf, I thank you all. Thanks also to our rector, Professor Vahan Gopian, for his continued support. Thank you to the Planetary Health Alliance. Thanks to the participants, speakers, chairs, and so on. You are most welcome, and please enjoy and participate in this Planetary Health meeting that takes part for the first time in the Southern Hemisphere. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Silvio. And now the words of our president, Professor Vahan Gopian.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers. You have done a beautiful, a fantastic job. I'd like to thank also the supporters, the sponsors, because you make it this meeting live, this meeting possible. And I'd like to thank the lecturers, also the panelists, the participants, and our attendees, almost 4,500 attendees. Thank you very much, everyone. University of São Paulo has been involved with the Planetary Health initiative since 2015, when we launched the Lancet Rockefeller Commission report in Brazil during September. A few months later, in early 2016, we joined formally the Planetary Health Alliance. Our representatives attended all 3 previous meetings, and we felt enthusiastic with the opportunity to bring the meeting to Brazil, to the Global South, for the first time. Unfortunately, the pandemic has prevented us from hosting you in our campus, our main campus in the city of São Paulo, forced us to go online, but also allow us to expand significantly our reach. Maybe in the future, we will have you here with us in person for another edition of the meeting. University of São Paulo, as you may know, is a very large, comprehensive research university. Almost 60,000 undergraduate students, 30,000 research graduate students, almost 6,000 faculty members, 2 hospitals, and so on and so. We belong to the state of São Paulo, so we are a public university. We do not charge our students. We try to find money, and our everything, all of our activities are free of charge. Well, University of São Paulo is very much engaged in promoting planetary health within its community, because we understand that the importance of this framework. It provides for us to promote health, well-being, and a more sustainable future for all. We also see it's a perfect cross-cutting team that can unite all areas of knowledge, having in mind that transdisciplinarity is a key aspect of planetary health, of our current complex problems. But we also understand that planetary health is about research, education, and outreach about action with the society. So all the three pillars, the three main missions of the university must be engaged. At University of São Paulo, the 4 provost offices are engaged in promoting it, supporting research, new undergrads and graduate courses on planetary health that will be available to all university students, and other activities. Our planetary health research group, hosted in the Institute of Advanced Studies, is an example of multidisciplinary and national group. In fact, it's a Brazilian group hosted at University of São Paulo, with members for all of the regions of the country. This is a very large, very important moment for all of us on our planet. A change is required, and this meeting will shed light into how to make it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Vahan. Thank you all, my colleagues here on this virtual stage, virtual opening ceremony. We're closing now the opening ceremony, and we'll get back to the first session in 20 minutes in another Zoom room. So you can access it if you go to the platform and click on auditorium. You see there the first keynote speech. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here, and we'll be back in 20 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a nice week.
Thank you so